Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We are live here at Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Missouri. The podcast is produced by the amazing people here at Punchline Productions. If you've not been out to AU yet, you've seen the past probably 10 plus episodes that are all here live at Adventure Unknown. A lot of Adventure Unknown members have also been guests on the podcast as well. So if you haven't been out here yet, send me a message. Would love to show you around the place. Not just show you the podcast studio, but also show you everything that Adventure Unknown has to offer. Today's a first. It's been over 175 episodes since launching this podcast, and I've never had a repeat guest on the podcast. So somehow, some way, I was able to get 175 individual people on this podcast, which is awesome. But today, all of that changes, and I'm really excited about that episode. This episode today because I'm joined by David Marks. David is someone that I've known since 2020. When I first started creating content online, I created a local Facebook group where I just started promoting businesses during COVID, doing a live interview, letting them promote their business, and trying to get people to start supporting local businesses more than ever before because of the pandemic. And this is while I was still in medical device sales, so I really had no idea of what I was doing. I was just trying to put myself out there. David was one of the first people that I interviewed. You can find that interview somewhere on YouTube. I don't know where it's at. I don't know what channel it's on, but it's pretty cool to see how far both of us have came since they're over 5 years ago. And over the years, he supported me at every corner. He came to my first business event back in 2021. He went to both BOA Lives last year. He was the first member when we launched BOA back in November of 2023. He's been a one-to-one coaching client, mastermind member ever since. We've built our relationship online, offline, connecting each other to many people. He's became a friend, someone that I look up to and just get motivated by. So I'm excited to, kind of dive into a little bit of everything here today. We had him on the podcast last year where it was a great episode. He was able to kind of dive into his story. But today, he reached out a few weeks ago and just said he wanted to come on the podcast, share his journey of working with us firsthand for the listeners. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. We need to make this happen. So I'm not going to steal all his thunder, but David is a great example of what we teach inside of BOA, and I'm grateful he's here to share his story today.
Awesome, Adam. Thanks for having me. The first thing I think about thinking about you is all the businesses that I do business with, the owners usually have one trait that is above and beyond. And yours is like transparency. There's here's transparency is here, then Adam McChesney transparency is way up here.
I appreciate that.
And that's just, it's you want to make impact, and that just shows the level of integrity.
Yeah.
Because I have kind of hinted at him, here's my business, and kind of put it out there on a worm, and you don't bite. And that's because that's not in my best interest. Mm-hmm. It's not. Dave's best interest is to let him work with some of these industry specifics, and you've helped me navigate that. So it's I've never seen that before. I've never experienced that. I have, but not at the level that you do.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
I mean, seriously. So I made some notes to, just because I was out in the woods one day and making some notes. So I love Lorna. I'm gonna talk about Lorna. That lady is awesome. She's like the female version of you, and that's because, dude, she wears this in her heart. Yeah. What you guys do as far as, because me and Lorna have had several calls where I don't know if we talked anything about business.
Yeah.
It was about our lives, and because, I think of your integrity, the transparency. And you're a real person. Mm-hmm. What you see is what you get. So when I think about that, because I love how you've taught me how to do this, is talk about when things don't go the way you want them to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When things don't go wrong. I made a post about how I got a vehicle I'm so far upside down on, it got a ton of activity. Mm-hmm. So because you portray that and you display that, it's easy for guys like me to open up to individuals like you, and Lorna.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was one call me and her had. I was in tears a couple of times, because she cares that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's about impacting, like impact. Dude, you've impacted me 1,000%. I mean, that is like so true, and set a really good example on, how to attract.
Mm-hmm.
It's promotion. It's attraction, not promotion. Like when you do it right, you're going to attract the right people.
Yeah.
Instead of promoting. Okay. There's a saying goes, you get what you pay for. I'm paying down here and I'm getting way up here. I mean, it enticed me to, want to do this and, share my story, share my experience working with you and Lorna, and go like, hey, when you do it the right way, and money's important, I get it. You get that, we all get it, but that's not the reason behind it. Because, I think for me, Adam, you set a really good example of when you do what's best for the individuals in front of you, it follows. And I've watched you do that.
Well, and I think like last year, I made an episode that hasn't came out yet where I kind of talked about building culture through personal branding. Lorna's a great example of like, hey, like when she came and started working with me a year and a half ago, she didn't have digital marketing agency experience, no coaching and community experience. She was an architect by trade. But
I would have never known.
Yeah. So like very, opposite of me in terms of organization, structure, all the good stuff, which is why we've worked so well together. But it was like, hey, I can teach the nuts and the bolts of this stuff. What I can't teach is people doing the right thing and good human beings. I can morph the culture into them. So she's been a great example of allowing me to do my thing. And then I train her, I manage her, I teach her, I coach her. But then she's just so good at picking up stuff like, oh, Adam did this. Now I'm going to go take it offline when I'm having a conversation with David or somebody else when Adam is not there. And so that's been something that's been super powerful to kind of see. But last year was like just so difficult trying to build a community when I wasn't able to run a digital marketing agency that had basically paid for my livelihood for 4 years, right? And so I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's next. Had still like the price point for the mastermind has gone up in the group by $100 a month, which is literally nothing. And I look at that as saying, hey, could I have made more money and sold more stuff to the right people, but it would have been a bad fit for them or for us to make a little bit of extra money? Absolutely. But I truly do believe that because I played the game the right way all of last year, even when I was getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over again, that's why stuff has grown this year. We've went from 7 employees to 21 in 90 days. And it's kind of like one of those things where when you had sent me a message a while ago, you're like, sometimes I struggle with accepting people doing things for me, right? And so I'm the same way, where I'm like, I don't deserve this. Why is this happening? And that message that you sent me, it was like kind of how I've experienced this year. Like I'm sitting here like, why are all these good things happening? And it's because last year and the years past, I was dealing with so much stuff that it's like at some point you're going to win. Most people give up before they can see the growth and they can experience those things. Or they say, hey, no, I don't want to take that offer. I don't want to do those things. And we did so good. You did so good. Like, we just have to accept those things.
Yeah, I love that, Adam. I love that. Yeah, because because that makes total sense, because you did what's right for people. And it's like you kept putting deposits in that spiritual bank account.
Yeah.
I believe in that.
It's real.
I believe in that spiritual bank account. You just kept depositing. You deposit enough good vibes in there. Well, now it can start paying dividends and keep depositing. I think what's really cool about you is you show up 100% for everybody. No matter whether it's one person or it's a massive room, everybody is going to get 100% of you in that moment. Because there's a lot of times I'm like, And what's cool about that is you do it in a way where it's like we almost feel ethically guilt tripping people into really wanting to do personal branding.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we feel like we're not dropping the ball or we're not doing this, we're not doing that, there's personal branding, there's Adam McChesney personal branding. None of us are ever going to catch you, but that's fine. That's cool. It's all good. But it allows guys like me to feel like, okay, I didn't do everything that Adam said to do, and I feel ethically guilt tripped into still doing it because you're not like antagonizing anybody. You're not talking shit on us. Hey, Dave, how come you're not doing this? How come you're not doing this? How come I'm not doing this? You do that, but you do it in an appropriate way where guys like me, Chuck, Brad, all the OGs still want to show up, still want to come, still want to participate.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's like multiple different things to that. It's like one thing that I've always said, and before I launched Builders of Authority, like for 2 straight years, people have been asking me to provide something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have a course? Do you have coaching? Do you have? And I was like, no, I got these other things that I need to work on. Like, I'm not going to go chase the shiny object. But then it finally got to a point, and thank goodness it did, where I was like, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to do it because if I didn't have that and everything that happened last year, like I have no idea where I'd be. So I finally took the leap of faith and just said, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. But the one big thing for me is like, if I'm going to teach and I'm going to coach and I'm going to mentor, I have to be like everybody that is in that group or that I coach. It's like they're always pushing their level. Well, I got to continue to increase my level if I'm going to be the authority at the thing. And it's really tough to do with so many people that level up and continue to get talented, like even more talented. And that's what I've had to like really focus on this year of like, hey, I have to be the authority in that community and to my clients. And then on the agency side, like I have to be the CEO because I have leaders and managers that have come in and they're growing at such a rapid pace because they're new to the company, they're new to the role, they're excited, whatever. And it's like, man, I've been growing, but it's like now my growth is like incremental because over the last 5 years, there's been so much growth. And that's the tough thing is where it's like, I feel like I always have to be on. And I try to say, hey, if like I'm going to be there, I want to be present. I want to be where my feet are at. And I want to dive in. And I want to make sure that I'm not doing that like, hey, why aren't you doing this? But encouraging through my participation where it's like, hey, go test out this thing. Let's go try this thing. Let's figure out what's going to work for you because what works for you isn't going to work for me, which isn't going to work for anybody else. So we got to figure out instead of saying it's the Adam way, it's what is working for Dave.
Yeah, exactly. No, and you just said like, because of people, I've had coaching before, you're not the first person I've worked with, but what I've learned is like you eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, so that's inspiring because it's like, okay, if Adam's doing this, because me, Chuck, Brett, dude, we're never going to catch you. We're just not. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was talking to Charles on the way over here. I was like, I got some windshield time, so I call him. I'm going to pivot here and I'll come back. But what I love about the community you built is you've connected me, like me and Chuck, dude, are like this. Mm-hmm. We talk love it. Once a week.
Love
and
it.
We become like super good friends. We've, helped each other do some personal stuff off with Brad. So it's like, that's like the impact. Because remember me, Chuck, and Mary Goldcamp, we got a little Facebook chat that, we talk to throughout the week and encourage each other. Me, Brad, James had one going. And it's like, that's what you've done. Mm-hmm. It's like you've connected because you launched BOA and did this. You've like organically or universally, the law of attraction, put people together that wouldn't have never met.
It's
crazy. It is. Because, dude, me and Chuck, it's game changing for me. The conversations we've had, the camaraderie we had. Mm-hmm. We both have a lot similar backgrounds. We both understand each other very similarly. Mm-hmm. If you connect me with Kevin, we're meeting later today, so I'm enjoying that. And really, you've really helped me get outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And really taught me that when you get outside the comfort zone, right, one, it's not as bad as you think, and when I focus on building, growing personally, how that really impacts professionally. Because I've been grinding at my businesses. Mm-hmm. I have, and I've had success,
Yeah.
but not the success that I wanted. And you've set a really good example when you open up about everything without how's this going to make me look? What are people going to think about me? It's like, it's life-changing, Adam. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it, but I shared an email with you with something that I really regret that I did when I was 19 that I don't think I've shared with like one or two people, and that's you.
Yeah.
That's how you've made me feel in doing that and being more open and transparent about my life. Because I've shared a lot of stuff with people that I thought I was taken to the grave with.
Yeah.
And the support and the outreach that I've received that I didn't realize that I was going to get, it's been life-changing. And that's what I've gotten from working with you and being a part of BOA.
Well, and I appreciate that because there's a couple golden things that you said in there. One is like, hey, when you work on the personal, right, the business gets better. Everybody thinks when you work on the business, the personal gets better. It's like if you're not whole, if you're not the foundation as the person, right, it doesn't matter how much success you have in business, it's never going to be enough. And even if you are like personally good, it's usually still never enough in business. You always want more, right? So, but you have to have that foundation there, and they do correlate, right? But the other aspect is, and this is something that I've tried to consistently even do more and more and more of, is opening up and sharing the reality of what it is that we're going through. Because in the beginning, I was so scared about doing that because I'm like, oh, what if my clients see it? What if people that wanted to do business with me see it and say, oh, I'm not going to go do that? But every single time I do something and I share and I feel like maybe it's an overshare or too much or whatever, it weeds out the people that would have joined our community or signed up as a digital marketing agency client that would have been a headache, right? And it then gets more of the right people that maybe would have never given us a chance, but realized, oh my gosh, Adam was willing to go to that extent and share that to say, hey, you know what? Nobody's perfect. Adam is showing this right here. Now I have known him, liked him, and trusted him more. So I think it's this dichotomy of I'm worried that I'm going to lose people immediately that may have purchased from me or clients that are already with me. The long-term impact is that long game where it's like over time you're going to get more of the right people versus it's actually a good defense mechanism of keeping the people out that actually need to be out, because those people are usually in disguise. They're in disguise. They're supporting you. They're kind of giving you the half-ass, whatever, right? And then they end up blowing up. They end up not being a good fit. And then they blame everything on you when usually they didn't do the work. They were paying you less than you charge anyway. And then they're the ones that are going to go irate and do whatever on social media.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that. And then I think, because I've got to talk about, I went to AA meetings for 17 years. I did a lot of bad stuff between 16 to 26. And that's the stuff that I was planning on taking to the grave with me because I was worried about how's this going to make me look? What are my clients going to think about me? And then being open and talking about that. I mean, I know there's haters out there, but I don't see them.
Yeah.
I really don't. And it's like, okay, this is really cool. This is really cool. I made a bunch of notes about stuff that I wanted to. Yeah, man. I mean, I just think about like, okay, so this is because you brought up. I've always known you got to work on the personal, to grow the professional. But being part of BOA and doing personal branding, it's opened my eyes up and taught me what that looks like for me. And exposing myself and being vulnerable, because what that allows me to do is take that vulnerability. That vulnerability turns into confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
It turns into confidence.
Yeah.
That okay, it's because we all suffer. I got to suffer from self-pity. I called it. Self-pity. And doing this has helped me. I don't think I'll ever overcome it. It's just finding ways to minimize it, negate it, or like, no, I called it itty bitty shitty committee.
Yeah.
So we need to kick that to the curb. But doing this has given me confidence that it's not as bad as I think. Then I can go to my staff, or I can have those so-called tough conversations with employees or customers and show up confidently because I've worked through fears and insecurities from doing personal branding, which then grows the business.
Well, and I think people don't always understand like what that missing link is, but the missing link is really confidence. Confidence to show up online, confidence to show up for yourself, and the confidence to show up for your business. Because when indirectly or directly, when you do build a personal brand, your business and anything you touch in the future grows, right? Like last year's a perfect example is like, hey, I don't have a digital marketing agency. People were still reaching out. And when I relaunched it, people were just waiting on the doorstep looking to hire us. Had I only built a business brand behind the last agency I was a part of, when I had to go do something on my own, it would have been crickets.
Yeah.
And so if you don't, I always tell people is like, there are multiple options out there. You can not do it. You can do it, but not do it consistently. Or you can just follow whatever game plan works for you and just say, hey, this is what I'm going to do and I'm committed to doing it. But what people don't realize is when you stop keeping the promises to yourself, whether it's your health and your fitness, it's to your friends and family, it's to your employees, it's to your customers, you start to lose confidence. When you commit to the plan, and even if it's something as simple as I'm going to post once a day, and you do that for 7 days in a row, you feel really freaking good.
Yeah.
And then it ignites everything else where you're like, oh my gosh, I went to the gym, I ate healthy, I did all this stuff, and now I get to show up for myself and for my business, and everything gets better. And it's a trickle-down effect. Your employees see, like, that is what I did so good in the very beginning is the employees just bought in, and I'm having to, again, level up myself. I'm having to have my managers and directors now be that, hey, we have to consistently be on for our team because people, right? And it's a great example with whether it's kids or friends or family or clients or employees is like they catch how you do things, right? Not necessarily what you say.
Yes.
And so you can say one thing, right? But they're looking at it like, no, that's not who he says he is. And so I can't express the importance of that enough, the confidence building, but also just being the example and doing it for yourself. But then the biggest part is seeing your team and anybody that is looking at you being like, okay, what he says and who he says he is who he says he is.
Yeah, no, you've definitely done that because it's what's cool is looking back is when I joined, I joined because of all the personal branding you've done, but I had no clue that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I saw it as a way for us to work together, because it's like, yeah, I use industry specific because that just makes sense for me.
Yeah.
And then I just saw it as a way to work together. And, as when you're talking, I was thinking, you hold yourself so really accountable. Like you're not, like even on the calls, you throw yourself under the bus, then make sure I'm going to back up, make sure I didn't miss myself.
Yeah.
But you do that in an appropriate way. And I do that too with my staff. I got one of my senior techs. He could go get 5 jobs today, probably making more money, but I throw myself under I'm always the first one to raise my hand. Yeah, I effed up.
Yeah.
And that's you. And we've watched you do that. And that's I think cultures with, at least for employers, starts there. You got, if the employer has to be able to throw himself under the bus, in an appropriate way, because that demonstrates to the employees that, oh, this is a real person. Because nobody likes a dictator. Nobody likes a micromanager. Nobody wants somebody that's going to point the finger. So I haven't forgotten what it's like to be an employee, and I've watched you do the exact same thing with your staff, because what that does, Adam, is that gets them to want to level up.
Yes.
That's what creates that, because, they're allowed to make mistakes. They're open. I have that same thing where, it's okay to make a mistake. I make them all day long.
Yeah. Well, and I can't remember where I've heard this so many different times. I don't know if I heard it on podcasts, read it in books. I'm sure probably everywhere, but it's the whole like phrase or example of like, as the CEO or the owner of the business, right? Like nothing is beneath you, right? So like the whole aspect of like, hey, if the toilet needs to be cleaned or broken, or you need to take out the trash or whatever it is, right? Like the janitorial type stuff. That's what I always like basically share with my team is like, I will go in if I need to go add a page to a website or fix something on the Google business profile. Like I don't want to do that all day. I don't want to do that like consistently, but like I will show you that I'm not willing to just give orders and have people just be doers. I want to show you the way. And my way might not be always your way, and you may have a better way of doing it, but at least I'm willing to raise my hand and say, hey, all hands on deck here. What can I do to help? And that's what I've been like consistently, especially as we have new team members, that about half my team I've worked with in some sort of capacity for multiple years. The other half of my team, brand new all within 90 days that I've never directly worked with. So part of it is like you have to build that camaraderie with those new employees, the trust that, I mean, there's such a crazy correlation between personal branding to go get clients and then personal branding to get employees. I've had people that have written me long emails in the interview process say, hey, Adam, I really hope I get this job because I've been following you for so long. I knew you from a distance. I knew whatever. The know, like, and trust is there, but once they're inside, right, they still have to be convinced, right? Like they know that they want to be here, but so like that's what I'm trying to do is say like, hey, if you need something, right, don't feel as if I'm too above anything to come to me because I want to be in the thick of it with you. Not all the time, but like when you need me, when you've exhausted other options and or you think it needs my attention, I'm not going to shy away. Let's do this.
Yeah, no, I love that, Adam. I love that, and it's I've watched you do that on those calls. Watched you really do that, and so the thing that this being a part of BOA in this journey, Adam, it's like I've really figured out what I believe my purpose is for my life. It's to wake up to be inspired and enthusiastic to be me every day. It doesn't have a damn thing to do with my businesses, but it's really that because. You teaching me, how to be vulnerable and helping me feel okay to be that has helped me figure out what that is. Because we've all heard of what's my purpose. And we know a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yep.
And I've heard too many people talk about what there is. And I never felt like I really knew what mine is. And it confused the hell out of me. And the itty bitty shitty committee would kick in the door, and set up camp. We're here. What are you going to do now? I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. But, being part of this has helped me understand. It's like, that's my purpose, is to wake up to be inspired and enthusiastic to be me every day. Because when I show up like that, everybody that I interact with that day is going to have a good day. Or let's say I'm dealing, because nobody wakes up and wants to buy auto repair. So I deal with people that don't want to make the phone call they're making. So if I can show up like that, at least, if they're ignorant or whatever, it doesn't impact me, or I can make them take de-stress as a stressful situation.
Yes.
So.
And I think that's like one of the things that I used to fear, like if somebody was upset with our services or I said something wrong or I offend, like all of those different things, right? Yes, in some instance, you'll get a 1-star review. You'll get somebody that's upset and pissed off. You'll do all those things. But in reality, right? Like for our auto glass company the other day, we had somebody that was upset because they submitted a contact form on our website at like 1 a.m. and didn't get an immediate like literally that was the Google review. And it's just like you can't change people, right? And I can't fix common sense, right? We don't have somebody working Saturday night at you know what I mean? And so like, but people see those things. And other customers, when they see that review and the way that we responded, right? And I know you have the same take on it, like people are going to be like, okay, I know every company isn't perfect, but it's not about how you are when things are great. It's about how you respond to the situations when things don't go well. Even though that had nothing to do, but people are crazy. And so, when I get those things now, I used to want to react quickly, meaning like go fix the problem, go fix the situation, and or get upset, get frustrated with myself or my team or even the client. But it's just like, how do I pause, take a deep breath and say, let's take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
What are the facts? What's the data saying? And how can I just make sure that I meet the person where they're at? Maybe they're having a really bad day. Maybe something went wrong in their business that has nothing to do with what we're doing, but then they're reaching out to us because they're frustrated because something isn't going right with their marketing. So the more I've done business, right, and the more I've just done personal branding and content, it doesn't go away. We just get better at handling things. And I said this on an episode a couple weeks ago. I was like, when I've probably even this time last year, when I was interviewing on my podcast a year and a half ago, like I was still sweating a lot doing podcast interviews.
Wow.
Because it's just like, you get in this realm of like, I want to go be better. I want to go do all these different things. And I think over the last 6 or 7 months, it's just like owning where I'm at, knowing that I can still improve, but being like, hey, you just got to show up and do the best interview that I possibly can, not think about all the 17 other things that I have going on outside of this that I have to do when I leave.
I hear you. No, I get it. I get it. So the other thing I think about, Adam, is you really helped me identify what my business brand looks like and how that correlates with, I go by Quality Auto Dave. It's like, how do I be known for more things? We're going to talk to Kevin about, I'm going to talk to Kevin about this, but it's like, it's giving me a lot of, like, I'm going all in on rent a quality auto.
Yep.
I've watched you go all in on BOA. So it's making that pivot from a repair based business model to this based business model, and having you in my corner and Kevin in my corner. I can't wait to display this website that Lorna has put together. This website, Lorna, it's like when she displayed the blueprint or the preview. I mean, I'm like she read my mind. Like literally, she was inside my head. Like, this is what Dave wants, because what she put together, I was like, holy shit! I was super impressed. I got some things I gotta do on my end, a little bit of homework on my end. Yeah. She nudges me every once in a while, but she nudges. It's cool, Adam, because she's just like you.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's like she's like, okay, Dave, hey, where's this? She's pushes empathetically.
Yeah.
Pushes empathetically. Like, she'll push me and nudgy, but it's not. It's from the heart.
Yeah.
And it's because she truly cares. But when I look at that website, dude, I can't wait to show this. It's gonna be a website, thequalityautodave.com, for my personal pages to help showcase me. And I'm really impressed, dude. It's like for that website, it's like I'm paying this and I'm getting this. It's just, that's what you bring to the table. But I'm just gonna repeat myself. That's why I wanted to come on here and just tell everybody, like, I'm a real world example of what, when you show up and do what Adam and Lorna say, these are the results you get. My life is a complete 180 in here from where it was when I first joined. I'm just a new version of myself, and it's scary. Don't get me wrong, but it's cool, because it's like this has helped me work through insecurities and fears.
Yeah,
and it's helped me bring them to a conscious level, so that way I can become aware of them and stop myself. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this, and that's because of doing, personal branding and learning how to do that, dude. So I really appreciate this. Thank you. I really appreciate you, dude.
I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you just being consistent, showing up, doing the work, being a great example, living out what we teach in BOA. It helps obviously spread the word, and it makes what we do even that much more impactful, man. And to come on and just hear this, right?
Yeah.
All in a podcast episode. I'm excited for other people to kind of listen to this. Obviously, continue to follow David's journey, and just obviously, if you're interested in becoming a member, you can go to buildauthority.co. We have all the different aspects of everything we offer. We have a free Facebook group. Type in Builders of Authority. You'll also see it in the show notes. But David, any last kind of anything that's on your mind?
I mean, so this is if you want to build your life, both personally and professionally, dude, you need to take advantage of he's offering like one call complimentary.
Yep.
You got to take advantage of that, because this has impacted my life personally. That has helped me grow professionally. Because when I joined, it was joined to grow myself professionally. Okay, hey, how do I get, in doing what Adam says and listening to Lorna and working with her and his team is going to help me pivot my businesses. Because I know from personal branding, I can transition. I got my eggs. I'm diversified. I'm not just in one thing. Or if I want to go do something else, because I have that know, like, and trust from listening to Adam and working with Lorna, I can go be and do anything I want to be, and people will still support me and follow me. So if you feel like you're stuck in life, not just business wise, but stuck in life, you need to hop on a call with Adam, join our group, and enjoy the ride, and you will make lifelong friends. That I've made. I've had one-on-ones with James, Brad, Chuck and Mary need to get together with her. So yeah, dude, I really appreciate what you do, dude. You've impacted me. I know you've impacted a ton of people, others' lives. And yeah, I just wanted to let the world know, from where I started to where I'm at, it's night and day.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate that. Where can people stay connected with you online?
Oh, okay. Well, soon it'll be qualityautodave.com, but we're working on that. But, my Facebook page is public. I'm on all the channels. That's Quality Auto Dave on TikTok. Dave Marks on LinkedIn and Facebook. On Instagram, it's Quality Auto Dave. So, yeah, we put out some fun content. We make fun of my business a lot. So, and you've helped me with that as well. I've had several reels hit 7 figures, and one of them hit 6 million on Instagram, and it's been a really fun ride, man. I really appreciate this.
Man, I appreciate it as well. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing, it's been almost 2 years now. I'm looking forward to seeing the next 2 years.
Yeah, love it. Me too.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you, David, for coming on and sharing your story. Again, we are doing one free call. So if you want to get a taste of what we offer in the mastermind, we teach personal branding, digital marketing. We have one-to-one accountability, private Facebook group, a ton of amazing stuff. So feel free to reach out to me. You can also send Lorna a message on Facebook as well. We'll have all that stuff in the show notes for you too. And if you're watching this video right on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, right, on whatever podcasting platform you're on, do so and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps push the needle forward and get this podcast and episodes like this out there to more people. Thank you so much for listening or watching today's podcast, and we'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.